Okay, good afternoon. Good afternoon, folks. Hope you are well. Hopefully, you're having not such a dull day. It's good to see that someone's keeping you all alive. Yo, what will we do without you? Good afternoon, Richard. Good afternoon, Yo. Good afternoon, Night B Kalo Trading. Good afternoon, Reed Top. Good afternoon, VJ and Monaman. Good afternoon, Golby. Good afternoon to you, SLC. VJ is in the room as well. So it's good to see you all in here at the moment. Yo, gate crashing the Lockwood Rap. There we are. Gate crashing the Lockwood Rap. No, it's good to have a special guest. Okay, just have a quick look what's going on at the moment. It's a bit of a dull. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll get Yo to call in a moment so you can have a chat with Yo. But just have a quick scan around what is going on, because obviously people are in the markets as well and want to hear what I've got to say. I don't know why you want to hear what I've got to say, but there you are. So we had a bit of a pound pop earlier. Now you know the theme of my morning stream, the theme of my I had to do a little stream on Facebook as well. The theme basically is that this pound is getting a little bit fatigued. Unlike our friend Yo-Yo, who's been on the chat since 6 o'clock this morning, but no, this is getting a little bit fatigued, and we had some Ubers coming out of I think someone said it was the Sun newspaper. I didn't actually see it myself. Someone said that some rumours about some deal or something like that. And the pound had a bit of a pop higher. And this pop higher, I'm quite pleased to see, just confirms what I've been saying. This is the 4-hour candle, okay? So we put up about a 70 pip candle, 70 pip move, and we're rolling back over again. So I mentioned this earlier this morning on the stream and again at lunchtime, that this pound, is just finding a lot of resistance to the upside. The dollar is having a reasonably good day anyway, but the pound, it just seems to be running out of steam. Remember last week we had that FOMC move where Powell shook the markets with this revelation that they're going to be pausing on rates for a while. Yeah, the same revelation that we heard in November last year, and the same revelation that all the Fed participants have been talking about all through January about becoming a little bit more dovish. So the Fed announced it, and the dollar started selling off. How amazing is that? And already that little reaction that saw the euro pop up at 115 and close, and the yen outperform as well. Basically now that, and basically the pound didn't react to it. The pound didn't react to it to the upside as much as the other currencies did as well, i.e. the yen and the euro. So it just makes me think the pound's getting a little bit fatigued, and that's why I'm drawing in these levels of, I think, you've got a nice a top there. You've got this bearish engulfer here. You've got these wicks candles in here. These high wick candles at these levels. Now we've broken through the 50% pullback, the 50% range. This candle here almost touches it and then rolls back again. So this pound, as far as I can see, is still in for a move. And I'm looking at 29.50 as our target for the pound as we potentially trade lower. And indeed, this is the trade idea that we put out in the weekly report that you might get, which is a longer term trade ideas for the week. Myself and Max. Max is off today, as you know, through unforeseen circumstances. He should be back tomorrow. But pound dollar, I think, showing fatigue. Bit of news popped up, but off we come again. Same as the euro. I mean, the euro we spoke about again. This is now putting in. You got some bearish little price action coming in here again. Bearish engulfer there. Bearish engulfer there. Bearish engulfer there. There's another one there actually. So all these bearish engulfers coming in the euro, and every time we get up there, we're seeing a series of lower highs being hit and lower highs, and we're coming back down again. So we tested down the 114.24. As per my morning stream and the commentary, I expect this to be trading on the back foot. In terms of the rest of the yen, dollar yen, we hit 110, which was basically our target for last week. Hit 110, rolled back at the moment. I still think the dollar yen has got potential to the upside. Dollar yen really is a risk off trade, and at the moment you're seeing the stock market is reasonably quite buoyant. When stock markets are buoyant, then of course we've got weakness in those commodity safe haven currencies like the yen and the Swiss. So the yen's on the back foot at the moment, and an Australian dollar is pushing up. RBA is out this Tuesday, I think. Is it tomorrow or RBA tomorrow night? A very important RBA meeting this time out. Remember, the RBA are committed to the well, they said last week that they're going to be moving rates definitely to the upside, not to the downside next time out. Although the market sort of data is not really reflecting that. Housing markets are not looking particularly buoyant over there. But what is keeping up the these Australian dollar? Just seeing if I can find it here. Let's have a look at iron ore prices. I mean, iron ore is the main business for Australia. They're their biggest export of iron ore, and the price of iron ore in the last look here. Okay, it's having a bit of a down day today, but look at this iron ore that you've basically seen since. Oops, there's the chart. There we go. So this is the iron ore. So from basically the beginning of this year, iron ore was trading. Whoa, here we go. Iron ore was trading around the 60 level. Now back up at 85 level. And also the trade talks between China and US are taking a conciliatory tone. So that's basically the external factors that are helping the Australian dollar trade higher. So when times of risk off, like we're seeing at the moment, risk on I should say, with the stock markets looking bid, the yen under pressure, Aussie yen could be a nice trade into RBA again from over the next couple of days or so. So keep an eye on the Australian dollar, but be mindful we've got some big news out there as well. Canadian dollar's on the back foot. Canadian dollar's coming back on back of basically a give up in oil prices. Nothing too spectacular going on there, but oil prices are coming down again, which is why this is today's oil price. So a big drop in oil, $2.30. Bounced off the 200 moving average. I don't know if that's significant. I don't really look at it, to be honest, on the 1 hour, but bounced off that level. But Canadian dollar is under pressure there at the moment. Canadian dollar really, has been quite well buoyed by not only data but also by oil prices. Potentially CAD yen to the upside makes sense. CAD Swiss makes sense to the upside as well. So a bit of a quiet start, but I'm still of that belief that that we're going to see some continuation of a bit of dollar strength and a bit of pound and euro weakness. And gold, I mentioned this earlier today. Gold, this is a key level. If I was shorting gold from the top, I think is what I said this morning. If I had have shorted gold, which I didn't, if I had a shorted gold, I would have I would have taken profits around that level. It's a big level on the weekly. Okay, so this level here on the weekly gold chart, you've got to look down to the left of the chart. Look here. Okay, big level there. On the way that bounced off it quite a few times from 1350. When it finally broke through, came back up to test it one more time, and then rolled all the way back. That's why I expect this level to be supportive of the downside. The reason why gold was so strong is because basically people were getting bearish of the dollar and didn't know where to put their funds. I think gold market's got a bid, and this was bid in light of the fact that stocks are still going strong as well. So quite a big move for gold, really. Anyway, momentum is certainly still behind gold. I think someone was talking earlier about buying gold at these levels from this morning's stream. If you have, well, I think there was trading at 13.11 this morning, so you're doing okay there at the moment. So it looks like gold might find some support around these levels as well. Anyway, that's enough about me. Enough about what I've got to say. We've got a guy in the room. He's been chatting away all day today, so I think it would be quite a nice idea to maybe get Yo-Yo on the line. I don't know, Yo-Yo, if you're listening in, if you'd like to call in, maybe we can have a little chat. I know you used to do this a long time ago, but if you can call in, we can see if we can get a little broadcast going. It's been a while since I've spoken to you on a one-to-one basis. We chat on Skype now and again, but there we go. Let's see if we can get this to work. Okay, good afternoon, Yo-Yo. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Yo-Yo? Because I can't hear you at the moment. Have you got your mic on mute?
Are we now connected, Lord Lockwood?
I can now hear you, Yo-Yo. I do know your first name, but I won't publish your first name in public. Good afternoon, Yo-Yo. Can you hear me okay?
I can. All fine. Afternoon, room.
Good afternoon. There you go. You can hear Yo-Yo for the first time. There you go. Sorry about the accent. He's from north of the Thames, so He's got some funny old accent up there. But
We can't help that. We can't help that.
so what have you been up to, Yo-Yo, all day long? You've been, and thank you very much as well, because Max has been off today. I've been really busy doing other stuff, but I've seen you, I've been in the room chatting away, but you've been keeping the room busy all day long today, so kudos to you for that. Thanks very much. What have you been up
Yeah,
to?
but you understand more than anyone. I must just take 1 minute to say this to the whole room, that without you, my journey wouldn't have been possible. So everybody must understand that, because you were the person that made the penny drop for me. With the, do you remember the risk reward? I was over leveraging and I was showing you all those blown accounts. Do you remember them?
I do remember. I remember when I first came into this space, you went around all the sites trying to check who the hell I was, checking my background. Was he really a trader on the life market? Did he really wear that coloured jacket?
Well, I only joined because of you, because I saw you on the thing, and I wanted to find somebody who'd been in the pits who was also behind the screens, because they don't exist.
Yeah, not many, no. Most of them are taxi drivers now.
Yeah, and they could never convert from one to the other, but you did. And I wanted to speak to somebody who understood what it was like to be in the pits, but also understood it from how it had sort of changed electronically.
Well, that's right. And I do remember converting you, because I know you've been trading for a while, but what I said to you, Yo-Yo, at the time, if I remember correctly, it wasn't rocket science. It wasn't something that maybe you couldn't read in a book somewhere or something, but it's just something, because you heard it from my voice. I think maybe the penny just finally dropped and you started.
Well, it was a risk reward, if you remember the leverage.
Yeah. Well, you became a trader as opposed to
a gambler.
A gambler, yeah, exactly. You used to call yourself no, you didn't call yourself a trader. You called yourself a risk manager now.
That's right. That's what you taught me to be, a risk manager.
Excellent. Well, I just hope that resonates with other people in the room. I know this isn't a sales pitch, but for everyone in the room there, if you're not controlling risk on every trade that you do, then chances are you are verging towards gambling, which is we try to get across all the time.
Absolutely. Foosh wants a workshop on it, head and shoulders. That's funny, Foosh. Maybe not. Mark's your man for that, not me. I only learnt it off these guys.
Have you got any head and shoulders patterns you're looking at the moment? Then, yeah. I mean, I know you mentioned something on this morning stream, which I
pound dollar weekly.
Pound dollar weekly. Let's have a look at the pound dollar weekly.
That's been going on for about 3 months for me, unfortunately.
Pound dollar weekly. So you got? Can you see my chart? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're looking at this. Is this the head up here?
There it is. Can you see it?
Yeah. So you got the head up here.
Head up there, and it's slanted down. And this last rise, the last sort of little arm.
Where's your neckline? Is that your neckline there? Where my blue line is?
Basically, yes. But this last rise, Andrew, that we had here, can you see where your pen is now? That last push that we've had on the pound is what's thrown me out. But I think that was front running by the market on a potential Brexit deal. I think people were getting positive. The stocks were showing it as well. And I think they've just sort of like somebody started, like a runner when he comes off the blocks too early.
Yeah.
I just think there's a bit of that going on there, because that really, to me, should have failed earlier. It shouldn't have gone above your lower blue line at the bottom of that double bottom.
Yeah.
You've then got that little green line exactly where you are now. That's where I thought that should fail. I didn't think it should come up as high, and this is what's confusing me. So nobody's got, not a dog in this world knows whether they're going to do a last-minute deal or...
Well, the fundamentals are definitely playing out, I think, in pound dollar. Once I say the fundamentals, they're on the back of everyone's mind at the moment. If you look where we were again, going out to the weekly, if you look exactly, this is the referendum candle. Okay, so
yeah, and then you've got your Trump candle, haven't you? After it wasn't the lower part, the Trump.
This is the Trump candle
just beneath the referendum.
Yeah, just down there. So this is the big move. So that big move you saw from basically 150. Okay, that's basically where we were. That's where we sort of, apart from the big spike beforehand, it was trading around the 145 level.
That's
the big move to the downside. Now, this level here, 132, really has been the cap of it, and I don't see it getting above 132 unless there has been some definite news. All this at the moment, it's all rumours. This may happen, this may not happen. Risk reward. The markets are looking back up to 144. I certainly think that is good. It would be what they're looking for. When they got back down to those low levels around the 120 level, the risk reward I think was always going to be to the upside. But I think it's run out of steam now. So if you're trading that to the short side, on a higher time frame, technically I think potentially it's the right trade. fundamentally.
Price likes to revisit, doesn't it? From what I've learned from you guys, price likes to revisit. It likes to retest.
Well, we're human beings, aren't we? We always do this. That's why we have Christmas every year. Well, I have Christmas every year because I did it last year. We all do the same thing time and time again because we feel comfortable doing the same things, over and over again. But I think technically, just the pound at the moment, of all the basket of currencies, because of what I said earlier about this, this FOMC, it just seems to have run out of steam, and I think the bulls are getting a bit tired. Interestingly enough, the sentiment indicators, I don't know if you ever look at those, Yayo, but the sentiment indicators have got they're all pretty flat now on pounds. So a lot of the retail space are pretty indifferent by it at the moment. It's had a bloody good run from the upside. I mean, look, a bloody good run from,
You would have liked to have caught that, wouldn't you, along the way, if you knew that was coming?
No, well, I didn't catch it, but look at that nice, I didn't catch it, but look at that nice bullish pin bar there on the 4 hour there. That bullish, that was the, what was that? That was, I think that was the first time that the Fed,
said that they weren't going to raise.
Yeah, and pound crashed against the. No, that's the other way around, wasn't it? This was, what was that? That was that candle.
Oh, sorry, that bit.
Yeah. No, that was
just nerves, wasn't it?
Oh no, that was the flash crash. Remember the flash crash we had?
Yes, I do.
We had that flash crash, which was basically something to do with Australia, wasn't it? That flash crash. That's right, Richard. Yeah, thanks. He's just dropped it in the room. The flash crash. Yeah, love it, indeed. So what else are you looking at then? Yeah, what have you been chatting about in the room? Because I haven't been following the full gist of your conversation today, but I know you've been busy. What have you been focusing on?
All it was, you remember the £100 accounts? I had 40 of them. They were all blown, and I made a commitment to myself that over the time of sort of trading full time, I was going to recover those individual accounts by testing new strategies. And what happened this year was there was just one that I wanted to start chronologically at the beginning of the year because I knew it was working, but I had to sort of put it into my day, if that makes sense. It had to become part of my day, a routine, and it's a set and forget. You set it at the 10 o'clock close at night, so you have to wait for the end of day candle. But there's a problem with it where not every single pair, so you're basically setting a trade on every pair. So if you've got, let's call it 38 pairs, including the commodities, oil indexes being FTSE, Dow, US 30 and US 500. So bear my 38 pairs, all the currencies plus the commodities, oil and those indexes.
Yeah.
And basically when the candle closes at 10 p.m. at night at New York, some of the setups on the chart are perfect and you can enter them immediately. But let's say 24 of them might be great and the other 12, however many there is left, might just need time to get through Asia because you don't know what's going to happen, whether it's going to be faking out. You know, a lot of the time with a daily candle, it can start off going up and then totally reverse that.
So is this trend reversal or is it trend following?
No, nothing to do. You could say technically there is an element of trend following in it. But if I ask you, can you open the Aussie CAD daily chart on your platform?
Aussie CAD, yeah, sure. I'll just.
You can do it. You can do a blank chart with nothing on it if you want, if it's easier for people, because all they need to see is the candlesticks.
Well, I'll just put it up on mine. Aussie CAD. Okay, I'll pull up a blank chart. Hang on then. Aussie CAD. Where is the Aussie CAD? No, that's not that one. Aussie CAD. Can you see it there?
Yeah, I can see that.
Right. What are we looking at there then on the daily?
If you can bring it onto the daily chart and just expand it so we can see the last sort of 10 or 15 candles close up rather than in between that pin bar. If we look from that perfect. So if you look, I'll go straight into it. If you look 2 candles back, we had the pin bar at the top, the doji. It might have shown up on the naked trading, yeah?
So I'm looking. You've got my mouse.
The last blue candle before these 2 red ones from today and the day before. That's it. Spot on. So if everybody can understand what you've got there, for people that aren't that savvy with technical naked trading or whatever, and Andrew will understand what I'm saying, and I'm sure a lot of you in the room will. What you have there is that candle where Andrew's got his mouse over now. Its peak is high, and it's higher than the candle on the left and on the right. But you wouldn't have known that peak is higher than the candle on the right of it, the first, that red one that came down yesterday, or let's say Friday. I think that was Friday's candle after it. You wouldn't know that candle that you're on now its peak was higher than that red one until the red one had played out. Because you can't read the future. That candle wasn't there.
Yeah.
Agreed. Okay. However, what you have, if you imagine those last two, so the today's candle and the last red one weren't there, what you've got there is an uptrend, technically.
Yep.
Yeah. So what's happening is you have to look at that and imagine that if the high of that blue candle is not broken, you have technically what's known as a turning point. Because a turning point would be where the candle on the left, if you've got three candles, the candle on the left's high has not broken the high of the one in the middle, and the one on the right of it, that's high was lower than the high of the one in the middle. So technically giving you, like you were talking earlier on your stream about potential evening star or whatever you want to call them, morning stars, and it's just a turning point.
So I mean, that is in fact, I got one of my students that I talk to on once a week. This is basically one of our strategies, but I didn't know you were going to talk about this. But this is, what you're talking about here now. This is a bit of the naked strategy, but with trend.
Correct.
Remember, the naked strategy is looking for a trend reversal where we're looking for that type of pattern to reverse down. Okay, that's what we're looking for. And normally the entry would be below the base of the candle and the stops would be above the candle. Of course, we don't know these red candles. So this, to me, I think that is a perfect entry for trend continuation to the downside. Also, for me, I don't know if you've taken this trade, but if you go to the line chart here now, okay, for me, imagine I hadn't seen those candles before, I would be putting a line in there immediately as my level of significance. You've got the support back here, okay. So you've got the support back here, okay. Oops, daisy, excuse me. So you've got the support here, bounces off it here. It finally breaks through, comes back to test it, okay. So that to me is a definite level of significance, resistance that this market is failing to get through. And then you put in, beg your pardon, and then you put in that pin bar at that level. That to me shows you this is a rejection. This is Aussie CAD. I forgot what I was looking at, but yeah, Aussie CAD. It's a rejection of that level with a bearish pin bar. A bearish pin bar. It's a 60 pip candle, so I always like to look at the ATR on that to make sure that I can tell by 60 is about in line. So that is a perfect little setup. So you don't know what this red candle is going to do beforehand, but with stops above that candle, a break of the candle to the downside, that's your trade. That's your trade.
Yes, but what you've got to bear in mind, the only difference with this to the naked is you're trading every candle every day at the close, regardless whether it's giving you a naked setup. You're trading on the basis of a turning point. So if you look at today's candle now, see where it's sort of becoming a little bit of a doji, this little red one that we're on today.
Yeah.
Technically, if the next candle opens and does not break the low of today's candle, that will technically be another turning point back up, because that high, the low of today's candle is higher than the previous lower low. So if you go back to the blue one, about 5 candles back, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles back it is from today. Yeah, back one more. That is the last low. Okay, so the stop would go underneath that. The only reason we don't put the stop, so tonight, if I was trading this as just setting this on the Aussie CAD tonight, I would not put the stop right underneath the bottom of today's low, because I'd want to give it, how many times have you seen, Andrew, on a daily candle where it just comes down beneath the daily low of the last and then goes all the way back up again?
Oh, well, yeah, because that's where...
Yeah, exactly. So what I'm doing is I'm giving it breathing space. Now,
so when you say breathing, I get what you're saying. Are you saying it's always 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or do you just go for the recent low?
You don't work it by numbers. You just work it by the most recent high or low.
Okay.
However, you wouldn't go to that pin bar. Okay.
So you're not looking at any higher time frame confirmation on the weekly? This is just purely looking...
No, you could look lower down. You could look at the 4 hour to decide possibly what it's going to do when it opens. You can start to do that, but the problem is you then start to put too much discretion into it.
Russell here in the chat says look sideways, and I would I mean, to me,
Okay.
you pick this
Sorry,
one.
let me just interrupt you. I'm sorry to do this.
No, it's okay.
It does look sideways.
Bloody sideways, isn't it? With those moving.
But we're only trading, Andrew, the ATR of the next daily candle.
So what do you mean by that? So the ATR.
We're not bothered about a range trend. We're not bothered whether this tells us to go up or down. All we're interested in is to work out the direction we have to set the trade in, and then set the stop correctly, and then look for the ATR. Now, we won't set the target. What we'll do is we'll put an alert on at the ATR. So just on this one today, tonight, that Aussie CAD's going to tell me technically to go long on that, which is against most people's. You'd say, right, well, it's bounced off, it's going to continue short.
Okay.
However, price action's telling me there, put my stop where your line is, or where it just was, beneath that last low on the blue one. That's where the stop will be, about 10 pips beneath that candle. And then we'll buy that market with a view to it. If you know the ATR of today's candle and Friday's candle, we will set a alert, let's say it's 60 pips.
57 pips at the moment,
There you go. So we will set a 57 pip alert long, which will then tell me at some point tomorrow, touch wood as long as it goes our way, that the daily ATR target is met. At that point, I will go and look at the chart and look at the possibility of it continuing. If it doesn't look like it's going to continue, I will take my profit quicker than you can say, Lord Lockwood.
Okay. All right. Well, there's a strategy. I mean, I haven't... And hopefully the room have grasped that, because you'll be in the room chatting about it now, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, the thing about that, Yo-Yo, is that for me, you've got some rules to enter, which to me, I haven't back tested this, and for me to do that, I'd have to go back and do some back testing and fully understand it. But what I like about it is you've got some rules there, some defined rules that you're trying out, and I think there's no reason why that wouldn't necessarily work. The problem is
it has to be, Andrew, because you can't monitor. You know that you can't monitor that many pairs.
Yeah. Well, you certainly. Well, if you're trading on the daily, you can just check it once. You check it once a day at 5 p.m. New York, which is 10 p.m. London time.
Now that system produced 1,600 pips last week.
Really? Well done. Across how many pairs?
It's done 636 pips today.
Wow. Not on the daily chart. On what time frame?
On the daily time frame.
Okay, across how many different pairs?
30. I think there's about 34 today, because they don't all. What I'm doing is, if I'm looking at it and it's just too questionable, I just won't trade it. I'll just leave it out. There's too many. You don't need to worry about it. That's why there's so many winners and not a lot of losers.
Yeah. Well, that's great. I mean, Jenny says I'm trading 28 pairs. She's changed her face, and I don't place stop losses. Yeah,
you could do that without. But the problem is, if you're trading £5 or £6 crosses at the moment, to trade without a stop loss on the pound is skydiving without a parachute.
Yeah. So I mean, you always place stop losses, yeah? Absolutely,
100%. And do you know what? If it gets stopped out during Asia, I might look at it again at 5 in the morning and reopen the trade, because it's come. So let's say that there was a little retrace beneath that candle once it's closed tonight, just goes beneath the bottom, takes out anybody that's going long, takes out some stops, and in fact, they might even be going down to open some sell orders and then drag the sell orders back up with them. So technically, we're long, and we just don't want to get stopped out. But if we get stopped out and the candle's gone by tomorrow morning at 5 a.m., it's gone back above today's high, then I'll reopen it long again and get in it at 10 a.m. in the morning and leave it till 10 at night. So you can manage it throughout the day, or you can just set and forget and leave it and check it again at 10 o'clock tomorrow night. And that's all I'm doing.
Excellent. Well, it sounds as though it's working. So we're all going to be intrigued and see how you get on. And the fact that you don't sleep, or you only sleep, the fact that you don't sleep, you might as well be in an EA. Just plug it in. Just you'll be in the room chatting away. So that's great. What else have you been trading? Anything? Have you been trading? Is this
my normal strategy? I'm trading everything. I'm doing the 4 hours, and then what you can do is, if you imagine having your account, seeing that 15 out of 20 of, let's say you've set 20 pairs in the night, 15 of them are all moved into profit. You can actually start to scalp those pairs, because there's something ironic about looking at your platform and seeing pairs that are green and pairs that are red. And I don't know what it is about it. It just gives you an added extra sort of confidence that you know that that is the direction of the trade. And if it's done 20 pips, it could have very easily gone to 40 or 50. So what I then tend to do is scalp in the direction of my green trades.
And how are you, just to talk like generically now, I mean, how are you, the biggest downfall of a lot of traders is the psychological side of things. How are you dealing with the psychology? Do you think you've cracked it? Are you disciplined, or do you find yourself still breaking rules?
No, I think people will always break rules. I just think that's the nature of being a human being. I don't think you can ever totally eradicate that, and I have to pull myself back at night and say, no, go back to the rules. And I'm a lot more patient with things, and the only time I'll break rules is when I'm scalping. Yeah. But the emotion can't come into it if your leverage is correct, because you're not emotionally tuned into the money.
If you're looking to make 4% a month, you're trading 0.25% per trade, the emotions on that trade...
It's the same, isn't it? You're going to lose £100, you're going to make £100. You don't get excited.
It should be irrelevant. I mean, that's the problem with a lot of traders, is that they do have the unrealistic expectations, so that's why they get emotionally charged or excited about individual trades. What do you think? I'll have to cut the stream short in a moment, but what do you think about? What's your view on Brexit? What's it like up there, up north? What do they feel up there?
I think it's a mess. I think we all know it's a big mess. I think, in fairness to her, she's done as good a job as she can do. I think they all need their bottom smacking because they should be pulling. We're the taxpayers, we're the people. If you look at the share prices of companies like Majestic Wine and people like that, these companies are a tenth of what they were sort of even last November or September, and you can see every time the bad news comes out how the stocks are affected. So there's either some very good buys out there from a financial point of view, but as far as Brexit's concerned, it's just going to be a mess, but we will survive. And I don't know whether they've got something up their sleeve. Like what I used to say to you, I was calling the interest rates, and I know this week that they'd be mad to put interest rates up. You just can't call this. Nobody knows. And it's either a last-minute dash to the post where Europe and the UK Parliament are sort of still tete-a-teting against each other, or they've got it in the bag, they know what's happening. But I don't think it would be in the bag, and they do know what's happening. I think it's too serious for it to be kept under wraps like that. Yeah. I think the UK will want it out. So I think what you're going to see is you're either going to see a no deal, a WTO, and it'll just take time to play out, as anything does, and it won't be that bad.
So you basically buy into. Oops, today's not on the screen there. So you basically buy into dips, and obviously if the. So I mean, typically, ordinarily you'll see a weak sterling benefit the FTSE 100, but in this case, if the FTSE 100, and these are exporting countries, So if if the pound crashes to say 120 or 115 against the US dollar, ordinarily in normal price action you'd expect the FTSE to trade higher.
Rally. Yes.
Is that likely still to be the case?
I'm not 100% sure, because there's going to be different outcomes for different companies depending on what the agree. It's something we've never seen before. We've never seen it. I don't know whether you've ever seen it.
No, I'm not that much older than you, Yo-Yo, but no, I haven't. No.
Come on.
When everything was in black and white? No, I haven't seen it either. No.
But you know what I mean? Nobody's got an experience of it, and I think certain companies, it's like anything. It's like, if we knew that before to 29th of March, there's going to be millions and billions of pounds to be made out of this Brexit. I've already bought into shares like Next, Centric. I've bought a lot. I've been sat on these FTSE 100s for a long time. Shares that are half the price of what they should be. And if they do go back to becoming what they are, let's say everything works out okay, they're even talking about an extended Brexit, where they're going to give them 10 or 12 weeks longer to get the legislation through Parliament.
Well, that mostly would help sterling, but if you look at this pound chart, I mean, I don't know why I've woken up this morning all negative of the pound, but I mean, the charts are just telling you that this pound is getting fatigued. I mean, these high wick candles, and today is just going to confirm it lower. I mean...
Morse is right. They say we're going to have to do. We need a deal. We are Europe's largest customer. Do you think Mercedes, Audi, BMW, and the rest of them don't? We must be buying more cars than their home markets. So they need to deal with us. Deals will be done. I just think you're going to see. I think what we're seeing now is, like you would know, the uncertainty. Yeah. And I think the minute you get a little bit of certainty back in these markets, even knowing that there's a no deal, that's enough certainty for the markets. Yeah. They know where they're going.
Well, I keep going on about it in the streams, don't I? About the pound pop and the coil spring. It wants good news. It wants to be back up. I don't know if you saw my video on YouTube, but I mean, it just wants to go higher and it wants to get back up to those levels. So they're waiting for them good news, but it's just not there at the moment. And while it's not going to be there, and I don't think there's going to be anything over the next week, 10 days. That's why I think the pound is just going to it's just going to suffer to the downside. And it's not just a thought. I'm just looking at the charts to show you that we're just struggling to get past these levels now. It's just
but it's respecting the 200 MA there, isn't it?
This is the 4 hour on the.
Sorry, on the daily there where you were then.
I mean, it's just on it at the moment. Yeah, I mean, we can always curve fit to see what's.
Chart,
yeah.
Chart on the daily, it was just beautifully hugging. Can you see is that your 200 MA there? Yeah,
that's my 200 EMA. Yeah.
Yeah,
but it's a simple EMA. What's the exponential moving average?
So
that's the EMA.
Yeah, but that's your trend continuation long there, isn't it?
That's your EMA. Oh yeah, I mean it's a trend continuation. You buy this, but I'm just talking.
As you just said, 140. Do you remember when Joel was on it and it went up to 144 just middle of last year? I think it was. It didn't take much to get it up there.
No, it did not at all. It's just back this time last year. It was about April last year we were up there. I mean, well, there you go.
What was it, 148 when it crashed?
It got up to 140, 150 on the day but 144 is where that week was sort of like consolidated. It had a bounce in the run up to about a few hours beforehand, and then it collapsed. But it got up to 144 in April of last year. I mean, 143 and then collapsed. And now I know we started talking about your head and shoulders pattern, but I mean this level here. I mean, this is a definite rejection here. We'll see. Okay, folks. I really appreciate you coming on. We'll do this more often. I'm sure that went down well. We'll keep an eye on the chat. I mean, obviously, if you're sharing more setups, then I'm sure the room would love to see it. I'd love to see them as well. Let us know how you're getting on there, and we'll have you on.
I'm going to try and put them in chat later for them.
Yeah.
So they're like Aussie CAD long, stop there. Aussie New Zealand short, stop there, and people should be able to set that.
Yeah, but can I? I'll say one thing, and I get this question all the time. We all see it. We all see it in the room. Where are the signals? Where are the signals? Where are the signals? And because of the name of the tin, it's forex signals, and people. What I'm saying is, people should be, if they're following these signals, they should be really doing this, with as much pinch of salt because these are just a few trades in a theory that. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying it's wrong, yo. I haven't even whatever.
You're dead right.
But I'm saying you don't follow this thinking this is
a. This is a system in test.
Exactly, it's a testing system. Demo trade it. I'll be honest. Some people don't like demo, but you can demo trade it. You can get the feel of it.
Paper trade
it. Just a feel because no one. I mean, and chances are you aren't going to be around. Today you have been, but the chances are you are not going to be around for 23 hours a day over the next 5 years. So there'll be lots of trades that you're missing. So it's the law of large numbers. You might have 5 losing trades on the bounce. So people are going to say, yo, what a waste of time that is. But 5 losing trades could be just a small anomaly in 100 winning trades. So.
Yeah. But I'm only using 0.01 lots. And if you're using a spread betting account, you should use the minimum amount you can, like 1p, 5p. The least amount.
Well, most people don't use spread betting because they're not in the UK. But
sure.
But yeah, I mean, I would say take every strategy like this with respect and
pinch of salt.
Yeah, and just do your own analysis on it. So I really appreciate you sharing that with the room. It's brilliant. Well, I'm going to have you on maybe next week. It's great to have you on today because it's quite a dull old day. So it's good to have you on, and people can now hear that northern accent, which is.
Absolutely. Thank you to all my friends in the room.
I've had to turn it down so the kids didn't hear. I don't want them thinking northern accent. What's going on? What about? But,
it'll scare them.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they wouldn't understand. Well, they wouldn't understand it. So that's as simple as that. I'm struggling.
Go on. I'll sign off and leave you. Take care, all, and I'll see you in the room.
Okay. Well, we're shooting off as well. So thanks indeed, Yo-Yo, for that. And thank you, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Bit different, isn't it? Bit different. So we'll. Mix it up a little bit like that. If anyone else wants to come on and say hello and tell us what you're thinking, by all means, give me a private message and we'll see if we can tee something up. As long as you can talk about something that's relevant, it's good to have a different opinion on the stream. As I say, if you are going to go away and start trading other people's strategies, you always need to do your own testing. I can't say that stronger than that. Okay, folks, we'll be back in the morning. Max hopefully will be back online. Mark will be on tonight in 6 hours, 47 minutes and 55 seconds. Then Max will be on, and tomorrow we'll do it all again. So thanks indeed, guys. If you're trading, stay safe. Good luck.